Good evening, America. I'm Oliver Pepperoni, and you're watching Channel 72 News. Tonight's top story comes from the land of Japan, which is also being corrupted by this abomination known as anime and mangas, which are basically Chinese cartoons and comic books meant for little children. Today's first story is centered around one of the more popular cartoon series and also comic book series titled Hunter x Hunter. It was recently announced that the hiatus, which has lasted for 2 long years, has finally come to a close, and fans of the series would get new chapters. But it turns out it was just an elaborate hoax set up for April Fool's Day, and children, teenagers, and adults are too old to be watching this stuff anyways, outraged today. And there was one adult who took to the streets dressed up as one of his favorite cartoon characters. He dressed up as something called a samurai and took a sword and ran around beating up everyone he saw. I warn you, we have graphic footage from the scene. Take a look. You might want to hide your kids first. It just sickens me that someone can go out there with a sword and have access to these type of weapons and go out there and beat up 300 people like that. This is the type of entertainment that we are allowing our children and teenagers to watch over here in the States, and we do not need this corruption here. Just look at what's happening over there in Japan. However, there is a silver lining in these dark, dark clouds because of this violent outburst of one of the fans of these violent mangas and comic book series over there in Japan. The Japanese government has spoken out against this form of entertainment, saying that if fans of the series cannot handle one series going on a 2-year-long hiatus, then all anime and all mangas will go on a forced 2-year hiatus where for the next year, no the comic books or cartoons will be made in the land of China, for Japan, or anywhere else in the world, which means great things for us over here in the greatest country in the world, because our children will no longer be able to get their hands on such deceptive and immoral material such as these cartoons that everybody's watching nowadays. What makes this victory even sweeter is that as a result of this forced 2-year hiatus on the entire medium, we see that all of the fans in Japan have nowhere else to turn to buy or watch any of their favorite series, except for Amazon of the United States. And here they find that they don't have to pay $300, $400 for 12 episodes on DVD. They can buy the Blu-rays for a fraction of the price. And as a result of that, all of the fans of this disastrous medium in Japan have bought out the entire stock of anime and mangas from Amazon, so they're completely empty. There's no way that they can get any new stock because it can't be made simply because this forced 2-year long hiatus that just happened in Japan today. In addition to this, the Japanese government has realized how much money their economy is losing by everyone going out and buying everything on Amazon related to some of their favorite cartoon and comic book series. So after seeing the difference in prices about how everyone else in the world is paying simply a fraction of what they're paying for in Japan, they've issued a mandate which states that any company elsewhere in the world which sells any of these Chinese comic books or cartoon series will have to now pay the same price as they do in Japan, which means we will no longer be getting these $30 DVD sets, but you'll have to pay $400 from them from now on, which I think is great news because it's going to put that final nail in the coffin of anime and extinguish it from our great country, because our children don't need to be seeing this. Just look at what these cartoon and comic book series do to the citizens of Japan. We do not need this infecting our youth of this country, and I'm glad to say that once it's at this outrageous, unaffordable price, then no one will be able to buy any of it, and therefore they will not be able to watch it. For a second opinion on the matter, we've invited a special guest, Tony, aka Black Critic Guy, who is a Chinese cartoon reviewer over at YouTube. Tell us your thoughts about this great news, Tony.
Yeah, about that. Well, when I first heard the news, I was like, what are they thinking? This is really stupid. But after much thought and restraint, I was like, that's a pretty fair ultimatum to give us, charging us a arm and a leg for our favorite animes, or taking away animes for 2 years. Are you fucking kidding me? Japan, I will fucking tear you up. I will just gonna kill you, you motherfuckers. Don't you take my anime away. And fuck you, we're calling it Chinese cartoons.
Cool your guns, Hulkster. They're just cartoons. It's nothing serious. I can guarantee that. The world is not going to come to an end because of this. Life goes on. They're just cartoons. And in fact, you might like what comes of this news even more, because here we learn that there are actually a few series which are turning to live-action adaptations of both movies and TV shows. The first one of which is Serial Experiments Lain. I don't know, it's a kid's cartoon from China. You can't really... Who makes this stuff up, really? But we see that Japanese porn star Hitomi Tanaka will be playing the part of Lane in this series, and I think she's gonna fill it out very well. I think this is a great turn of events for the youth of our nation as well as the entire world, because now that these same people are creating the same stories, which are going to be acted out by real people instead of drawn into these demonic cartoons, that they're not going to negatively influence anyone anymore, because nobody has ever gotten any sort of negative influence from any sort of movie or TV show, no matter where it's from. So I think that this is a positive step in the right direction. This is Channel 72 News. I'm Oliver Pepperoni. God bless America, and God bless John Cena.